Okay, so I am Sreelakshmy. I come from India, and I have an engineering background. I did my bachelor's in electronics and communication, and I graduated in around 2017. And I had gotten a placement. So I did my studies in India, and then I got a placement, and I worked in a Japanese-based company, but at their Indian branch. So our customers were primarily Japanese customers who already had their softwares, and we were just working on, how do you call it, an advancements of the existing features and such. So the technologies that all I had dealt in the first 4 years were primarily, I would say, a little more older to current technologies that is going on in the market. So this was what was happening when I was in India. And then I made the transition to move to Germany. I came in 2021 April. And then I wanted to do a German course because I live in Braunschweig, and it's but a little bit it's a small city. So I did my German course, and that's when I wanted to find out what I really wanted to do, because I was fine in my previous job, but I was not happy. Like, I was surviving fine. I loved coding, that I knew. So it was not like I hated coding or something, because even in our electronics and communication stream, we had coding related subjects. So I was sure of the fact that I was good in that, but I don't know, somehow I didn't fit the puzzle. So I didn't. So I wanted to give it a try again and see if it's actually a dislike towards coding in general, or that particular technology. Maybe I'm not enjoying it, or maybe I'm not doing it the right way to enjoy it. So and also there wasn't a proper transition, I would say, from the college to the placement, like for the job, because in college it's more of theoretical, but in company when you work it's very very practical. So everything is projects, so nobody is going to sit there and teach you things. So you need to be like, so it that transition was like very vast. So I was working fine, but I was not getting the depth of what I was working and how far I was enjoying things. And yeah, that's how I was. And after I came here, I quit my job in India. I was learning German, and then I wanted to figure out what I really wanted to do. And I was searching for what I wanted to learn, because I didn't want to be stuck in a job where I was unhappy, because that is like 90%, 60% of my day. And I didn't want to like just earn. I wanted to do something which I really like. So and that's how I did I then did some small projects related to web development. And then that's how I got to know that, okay, this is something that is really interesting to me, because I can see the things that's happening in front of me. I can build a website, and I can see a user interacting with it. And sometimes he's not having a great experience, but sometimes it's like you can see what the user actually feels when they interact with your website or what you developed or your product. So obviously all parts of coding, every part of coding is important, because everything is interrelated, but this is something that gave me a personal joy. So that's how I understood, okay, this is probably my niche, and probably I should take up this course. Okay. So, like I mentioned, so that's the reason I mentioned, like, when I was doing my bachelor's, I had a really good grade. I was great in studies. Everything was just fine. But I don't know, during that so I worked in India for 4 years before I came here, almost closer to 4 years. And during those 4 years, I was working fine, but I was not knowing how to search for things as basic as that. Like, how do you, like, not every, you cannot know everything. That is impossible. So that particular thought I didn't know. So it was like I saw it as a negative in myself for not knowing something, and I used to look down upon myself. Like, nobody else obviously would point out to me, but in my head I was creating a pressure that, okay, I don't know that, okay, I don't know that. So but learning is that process, especially when it comes to coding. So that, and how to search for the right thing, that is one of the primary things. And when it started with this, it somehow started affecting my self confidence. It came down to a point where I was self doubting myself and thinking if I would be even, if if I'm not fit for coding? Like, is it even my thing? Like, am I just wasting my time? So I was in a really bad mental state, I would say, before this, because I wasn't sure if this is where I wanted to be, because like I said, I didn't want to be in a job which made me unhappy. So I was very particular on that, but I was not sure if this is it. So that was the mental state I was in. Yeah. Okay. So during the boot camp, so I obviously during our onboarding and during the boot camp, and even when I spoke with students who have already graduated from the WBS coding school camp, they had all told me that this is going to be an intense program. So, like, be brace yourself for it and everything. But I think it's also, I have to say huge thanks to a mentor. Like, Chris was a mentor, and he was so amazing that I really did not feel like it was a hectic thing going on. So I had done a part-time course, so I had my German classes also going on along with it. I had my exams along with it. Even with all this, I didn't feel that pressure, but I could learn as well. And there was proper validation when we do right things, which helped me gain that confidence back. So actually, honestly speaking, towards the end of the coding camp, I realized that probably more than the technologies, that is what I needed. you know because technologies you can learn in a YouTube course, or I don't know, you have XYZ channels to learn. But to get it from a mentor who you can actually speak to, and who is an experienced developer who has been in the industry, who can tell you things like not just how to develop something, but to develop in the right way, or a better way, or an efficient developer. So that is something that I really really liked, and that is my biggest I think that's something that I'm really happy about, and that I particularly got to know when I went for placements. I mean, as in when I went for job interviews. This is a feedback that I continuously got through all of my job interviews, that my code doesn't look like an amateur. So I had applied for junior jobs, and that is something I was really happy to hear, because that was the point where I was mentally down before the coding camp, and to see that my effort, time, value, money, everything, like, and my knowledge. So it was a very, very satisfying experience, I would say. So I finished my boot camp in March 2022. Yeah, last year. And then, yeah, I think towards the end of the last month, I had started applying for jobs. I had started getting interview calls. I had one interview first scheduled, like, even before the boot camp was ending. So in the middle of March. And I had cleared all the three rounds. So basically, the technical rounds I could clear with ease. So in the final round, when it came to German proficiency, there was a German speaker who had a better advantage over me. So that was fine. I mean, but I was that is competitive. That is okay to me, because that is one of the job requirements. So that's fine. But I was happy with the part that the first ever interview that I attended, I cleared it in the two technical rounds. Like, the manager was also really happy. So that gave me a lot of confidence. So even though I didn't get the job, I was really happy, and I was like, okay, probably I'm on the right track. I just need to work hard on my more. So and then I again kept on applying for jobs every day. I would just focus my search in LinkedIn. Like, one more instruction that we had, like, it was more I wouldn't say call it an instruction, I would say it's more of an advice, that it's better to start for a junior job after this, because we know the technologies, but to work in an industry is always different. So I was particular on that as well, to start in a junior level. Though I have 4 years of experience, I wanted to take a step back and start as a junior. So I applied for the job with the proper technologies and keywords, and then I started getting interview calls. And in the end, I got 5 job offers, and I'm working in one of them. Yeah, that is exactly. I think I'll have to repeat what I said a little bit. The main thing I would say was more of mental. It's not that the bootcamp didn't qualify. It did 101%. It did teach me a good idea about the technologies that I was learning. But more than that, it changed me as a person. Like, I stopped looking at earlier I used to psych out when I see a error in my a red error. If it flashes, I would just freak out. Then I have no idea what to do. Like I would figure it out in my head. It would used to be like that. So it was a bad mental state for myself. It's not like I'm causing confusion for others, but for myself. So that is one big thing. So right now if I see an error, I'm like, okay, let's figure it out. So obviously there is nothing that you can google and you will not find out. So that is one major learning that I've saw. And also, the thing is that the patience that you have to go through when you develop something, or when you learn something, it takes time. So to understand that, not just read and understand, to live through it, like with a person, with a mentor there, who can actually give you like proper feedback, like a proper code review which you would do in a company. So it's that kind of that quality, that it's that kind of quality that needs here. And also it has to be that, the filtration of the work that you do. You Whatever we developed, whatever we did in the Sunday Saturday tasks, what, even if it was group projects or whatever it is, there was a proper understanding for of the mentor. Also try to understand what we actually did, not just how it looked. Okay, it's great, not like that. So we would dive into the code, we would see how it is done. So probably we got the result, but that might not be the optimized way. So this helped me understand that. So even in companies, when I work now, so probably I developed the whole feature, and my senior mentor would tell me, okay, I'm sorry, we'll have to not go for this method because it's not the optimized way. So earlier Sreelakshmy would be thinking, oh no, I just had my 2 weeks of like, it's waste, like I have to go back and start from scratch. So but now I understand, and I think see it as a learning process, because now I know one way, now I can learn the second way. So I see it like that. So that is one big major learning, along with the technologies that I had out of the boot camp. Believe in yourself. One major learning that I had was in the boot camp. For example, I had 4 years of industry experience in computer science, but there were people who had nothing to do with computer science who could finish as in like properly finish with all the proper knowledge. They could easily finish the boot camp. So I realized that they were a big inspiration for me, I would say. So it's like, you don't need to be connected with the industry, you don't need to have any experience with coding, but you just need to trust the process and see if it works for you. Okay, it could be a mismatch sometimes, not everybody would fit into the, because it's out of interest, so that is there for sure. But if you realize that it is something exciting for you, then for sure switching domain is not a as huge as a thing as it normally is showcased in the world. So it's it's very easy. So for me, though I was working in technologies like Delphi, which was morely native to the systems, and I made a total transition to web. So it is entirely two different zones. So I was wondering, I don't know how this field works. I don't know how the job market is. I mean, I know I research, but I don't know how it will be when I graduate. And so I had all this worry in my head, but eventually I just figured it out that if you have a good knowledge, you can be among the top 10% or whatever percent to get the good job. Or it might take a little bit time, but that's fine. Uh, just I would just say, just believe in yourself, stop self doubting, and things will fall in place.